We are here with episode 3 of the morning show. I keep trying to do new technology. It's not working, so we're back on our phone. Trying to do Streamlabs, but that's another story. But anyway, I'm Kevin Creekmore.
Melissa Stepp. And we are here, like Kevin said, episode 3 with the MoltenWorks Morning show. And before we get started into our topic today, we just have a little bit of news that I wanted to share with everyone. Now, we've been open for curbside pickup Monday through Saturday and from 11 to 3. But this week, because of the move, we are going to be open just Monday through Wednesday this week. And Thursday and Friday, we're going to be closed. Saturday at the moment is still up in the air. Good morning, Sarah. And but we're working on that. So Thursday and Friday closed for curbside project pickup and project drop off if you're doing a create at home kit. And next Monday we will be operating out of our new studio. The new studio is just at the end of the road. Don't fear, we're not moving far. Still behind McClendon's, but just a little further behind McClendon's. And so we'll be in the building next to Woodinville Sports Car. And we will do some posts and an email that'll have the new address in it for you so that you can do a quick Google search and find us. But instead of turning into the parking lot, you'll just keep driving down the road and find us there. So that'll be starting Monday, June 1st. We'll be operating out of our new studio, and we'll have that new address for you shortly. Anything else that you can think of that we need to announce or is newsworthy?
We're just really excited to get in this new space.
Yep.
If you drive on 522 from 405, you'll be able to see us because we'll be right there off the freeway, front and center. But I guess, we can kind of jump into what we were thinking. I did find a quote for all of you. Today we wanted to talk about creativity and how it's so important, and yet most of the people that come into our studio, at least initially, say, I'm not creative, I can't do this, I can't even draw a stick figure. So we'll just read this for you, and you guys can decide. So it says, a creative act, such as crafting, can help focus the mind, and has even been compared to meditation due to its calming effects on the brain and body. Even just gardening or sewing releases dopamine, a natural antidepressant. Creativity reduces anxiety, depression, and stress, and it can also help you process trauma. So this just shows how important it is. I tried to find some references because there's several doctors that also talk about how creativity is important for your mind and for your cognitive functioning on the day-to-day. And so despite not being creative, it just means you either haven't found your proper outlet, or it means that you need to look at what you've done in the past that's creative. A lot of people put it in a narrow window of drawing, when in fact it could be cooking, could be sewing, it could be gardening, it could be, a number of things that goes way beyond what you may think as creative, but it doesn't have to be, it's not such a small fine line. It's a broad spectrum of activities.
And we've seen how it comes out in the groups that come in. The engineering teams that come in from Google and Microsoft, Expedia, Amazon. Like we've seen groups from some of the big companies, and those engineering teams are remarkable. They learn so much about each other because there are people that really bring things to life. There are people that really go for straight lines. And the most remarkable one, or the one that really sticks in my mind, it was a team that came in and go through the teaching spiel, takes 20-25 minutes, and then they all asked for paper and a pencil. And then it got really quiet, and they started drawing and writing. About 30 minutes later, I remember coming into the office, and I was like, Kevin, what do they do? What do we do? They haven't even started. And he goes, just give them time, just give them time. Kevin, that's the balance in this working relationship here. And, so I was a little nervous. And then about 10 minutes later, somebody got up, started grabbing some glass. And then eventually, they were all working. And within 45 minutes, they were done with amazing projects.
Yeah.
They had drawn out their plans, they'd really thought very carefully about it, and they all came up with this spectacular piece. Some of them went really simple, some of them, stuck with their designs and got really complicated, and it just hit me. I was like, all right, you have to have I have to have patience.
Yeah.
Because they had patience and they went through this whole process, and it just really that experience really sticks with me with I just couldn't believe what came out of it.
Yeah. And a lot of that with the teams and creativity. And I was actually at the Dollar Tree, and I'll never forget this because the lady in front of the line looked back, saw me, and was like, hey, like, we were just at MoltenWorks, and I gotta say, like, our team before, we worked terribly together, and since going there, we now are gelling. And I think what it really comes down to with that creativity is that in your team, you may not know who's more creative or who's less, or rather, who's exercised it more. That's really more what it is. It's not more or less creative, it's just you have to practice. And so in a team of people where you work with them, you never really see their creativity because you're just working, you're doing tasks, you're really trying to walk that line. And so when they come into MoltenWorks, it's like all of a sudden, Sally is the most creative person they know, and she creates this beautiful piece that they're like, oh man, and they found this new respect for each other. And so when you find new respect for each other because you see where people thrive, especially in creativity, well, then you end up with a solid team and a level of respect between everybody that can be passed then through work and allow you guys to communicate, work together, and not have that tension. And a lot of it's subtle tension. It's not like you're going to go say, oh, you suck. It's more like you have this kind of...
Well, it's a little bit of control, and
yeah.
uncertainty that you're dealing with. And so in an environment like MoltenWorks, it's new to everyone.
Yeah. Even playing field.
Yeah,
That's
everybody's here, and no one has done this, and so everybody, even playing field is a great way to say it. Do you remember the Microsoft team that came in and the guy made the candle holder that had Clippy, the little help?
Oh yeah.
Paper clip.
Yep.
He created this candle holder, and it had 4 Microsoft symbols on
logo.
it, and his team was like, I had no idea. It was so funny, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it just that is another one that really sticks with me. And then Lucinda is an accountant.
Yes.
And Lucinda has vision like nobody's business. She creates with frit. She creates with the curls. She did this amazing piece, the hat that was sitting on a fence post.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
So we've been cool enough to see then the direct correlation to being creative consistently over time.
Right.
So Lucinda's a great example. Probably my favorite is Lisa. And Lisa came into the studio first 2 times. She made kind of like this rainbow on a piece, and then used some spiraled cane and things. And she did that the first 2 times. Well, she came in the 3rd time. She had a photo of her dog, and she says, I don't think I can do this, but I'd really like to.
Right.
And the background of Lisa, she's a web developer for the library systems. Right?
Yeah, she manages the King County Library website.
Yeah. So again, very much left-brained.
Yep.
So to switch her to the right brain, well, I said, oh, you can totally do that. Why don't you start with frit, add some curls, it'll be great. Well, sure enough, she comes out with this beautiful dog piece and has now made a plethora of dogs, and in addition to that, created a class for us.
Yep. That's the Portraits in Frit class for all of
Super
you,
cool.
where we've done our puppy portrait class, so to speak. But we've seen rabbits and birds and stuff done as well.
Lisa.
But good morning, Lisa. And that is, and that's what's developed. Lisa's been in to help with the class.
Yep.
She you know, helping people find the right color. She's got
Yeah.
great suggestions, and it's remarkable.
It is.
That, you know, the creativity that develops. And so we've seen people get out of their comfort zone.
Yep.
We've seen people find their comfort zone, first of all.
And it's like a muscle, you know,
Right.
you got to exercise. Like, nobody's a pro when they go down the mountain on a snowboard.
Right.
The first time. Like, nobody, not even Shaun White.
I
And-
fell on my face, got my snowboard stuck in the
Yeah.
in the snow, and I had to have help getting out.
Yep. First
Yeah.
3 days are brutal.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
fell so much, and then you're okay.
Yep.
But yeah, it is amazing, because then people got to give themselves the time, and that's what our membership program is about. Is like, hey, come create regularly, even if it's at least once a month or once a quarter. Let's say, you know,
Right.
it's gonna then excel you, and it's gonna progress you in other areas
Right.
of your life. And that's really the big thing, is when you're creative in one aspect, whether it be art or whatever, and then all of a sudden you go about your day in your family life and in your work life, like, you change things. You are more creative for maybe date night. You're more attuned to some sort of different meal that you want to prepare for your kids to wow them. Like, it's not so linear that it stays contained. It really just spreads over into everything. And actually, Elon Musk just talked about this, where he was saying that more people should go into their creative endeavors than they should into finance and tech. And it's because the smartest people are going into finance because money. And if those smartest people went into creative endeavors, or actually creating something new and innovative, holy crap, this world would be crazy. So,
Yep.
you know, the second we can put creativity more at a forefront and less, you know, monetizing everything, it's going to just excel our world. And especially with all the problems that we need to solve, that's who solves the problems, is the creative ones.
Well, and a big part of what I see just in the studio on, you know, every single time is that somebody learns from the piece that they made.
Yeah.
And so we hear, I'm not creative, but then those people say, it turned out so much better than I thought. And so the jumping into the creative endeavor, a foreign creative endeavor, it leaves people really vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to push through the
And to fail.
situation.
It's like failing,
Yeah,
right? Like
you've
when
got to, and you learn from it. Everybody goes, oh, I didn't know it was going to do that. And then my favorite part is when people go, oh, next time I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Go strictly business. That's awesome. You're coming back. But it tells me that you're willing to learn and you're willing to take that chance. And so that is the part that really gives me joy. It's so much fun to be part of everyone picking up their pieces. And their projects, because they get excited. I get excited. I tell them that I love their piece, and I do. Everybody's piece is unique. You might roll your eyes and say, oh, Melissa, you tell everybody that.
Yeah.
But I do, because there's no two pieces that are alike, and that to me is really delightful.
And it's the aha moment. They
Yeah.
come because with fusing, so those that don't know about fused glass versus blown glass, fusing, it's all in a kiln. So you work with it cold, you're cutting, you're breaking pieces, you're laying it out. We put it in a kiln, we melt it for 12 hours, then it's ready, but still flat. And then we have to go back to shape it in the kiln. None of the work happens out of the kiln, none of it's hot. So people, when they leave the studio, they don't really know what they're gonna get as a result. It's more like, well, I hope it turns out. Now, once you come in enough, you know. You're like, all right, well, that's gonna do that, that's
you get
gonna do that.
Yeah, you work with the temperatures.
Like you
you
said,
know what's
somebody's
going to
like,
happen.
I didn't know that was gonna do that.
Yep.
And so they can then use it in another kind of project or another way.
Right.
But the aha moment is powerful, and it's really cool to see it. I mean, every time you just see that light up, and
It's learning in action is really what it is that we literally get to be part of a learning experience for people. And that is what's really amazing. So we, and for us, it's learning too, because we have to figure out how to address I'm not creative. And we have to be able to answer that and support people when they say I'm not creative. And then you're going to repeat it and you say, oh, I'm not creative again.
I always retort with, you were a kid once, right? Oh, thank God. Whew! I was scared there for a minute.
Yep.
And I mean, even people still fight you on it, you know, and they say, oh, well, no, you don't know me. And it's just like, yeah, I know you. And kids, that, I guess we can tie it into the kids programs we've done. You know, I've gone to some schools, done every grade, K through 5th grade. And those kids, they don't need your help. They don't ask. You just got to supervise so they don't hurt themselves. But otherwise, they're going to create. If they don't like it, they'll dump it and start over.
Yep.
And that's a fear that adults have, is like, well, I can't start over. I'm too far committed.
Right.
And there's no point at which you can't say, no,
the kids commit to whatever shows up on the glass.
Yeah, or like they have an idea and they're going to make it.
Yep.
Even if
like
it doesn't look
like
like
the
it
rocket
to
ships
anyone
and the
else.
aliens.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
the rocket ships and the aliens that we've been posting were made by, he's got to be 4.
Yeah.
And he is so excited about what we're, the glass, and he loves to create. And he told me from when he dropped off his first project that he wanted to make another rocket ship, but he needed the Crazy Birds glass because his dad got the Crazy Birds glass, and this kid really liked his dad's rocket ship. So it was it's pretty amazing. And the biggest difference, or there's one difference, not even the biggest difference. There's one difference between the classes that we do for the kids and the classes that we do for the adults. And the difference is the kids jump in and start.
Yep.
The adults, there's a 10-15 minute delay before there's a commitment to colors, before there's a commitment to materials. That's the only difference.
Yep.
We don't introduce the materials differently. We don't change the way we teach.
Nope.
We don't introduce what's included any differently. The difference is that gap. And so really a class with kids is an hour and a half, and a class with adults is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's because of that.
Yeah, and
delay.
And what happens, and a lot of it, from what I've seen, is it's this trauma of I was in school, I took an art class, and my teacher gave me a C. And I think it's just the biggest crime that we
grade art.
Yeah, we put it on these people they're still creative, just in a different way. And if we had a class that was not graded, but based on the progression of creativity, like you would just see so many more creative people coming out of school instead of then shrinking in. And it's always the same. I mean, most of the time it's an art teacher. Most of the time.
It was one of my I hated my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
It was not fun. And but I had an art class where we got to do some really amazing things. We did a blown egg with wax and dye. We used wax and we did ink dipping. We did sketches and contours, and my mom recently moved, and I just realized that she still has some of that artwork from that class. She had it framed. And she asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, no, it's actually yours, so put it up in the house.
Yeah.
But
and so it depends on what teacher you have too. Like I was fortunate. My art teacher is why I started MoltenWorks. Not completely, but he said, hey, I know you're in a business entrepreneurship class. I've been experimenting with some glass and some vase type ideas you can make. And so I mean, at that moment I said, okay. And my art teacher is really great because I had great experiences with art growing up. I always took art classes. I was the teacher's assistant for art. It just excited me. And I looking back, I didn't realize how much I loved it until, post high school. And here I am doing it as a career. But then my art teacher let me, as I finished early, would let me explore and experiment. And he let me just play with glass and build stuff and make things. And for a short time, I was in an AP Studio Art class, the only AP class I ever took. Unfortunately, I didn't get to finish it. I lived on my own my senior year, so I ended up, I had to drop all of the classes I didn't need, which was all but 2. And my teachers worked a deal that I just needed to come in and take the tests. So when you live on your own at 18 years old, it was like, well, I either need to drop out of school or I need to, work a deal. And luckily I had a good rapport with my teachers, and they knew like, hey, we need to give this kid a shot, and they were willing to do it.
Yep.
So I didn't drop out. I had a few other people that were saying, Kevin, just get your diploma. Like, you might as well. And
Right.
and it's true. Like, I was way ahead on credits. Like, it was not hard, but
Yeah.
was it
No,
necessary?
Yeah, art class. I mean, the creativity that you experience as a kid and how it gets channeled is, is pretty. It's a crime, really, like how it gets channeled from elementary school through high school. And one of the greatest things I think is just a bunch of Legos. It's like, just take the colors and just do the whatever, and it just like, watch what kids can do with it. I mean, my sister's kindergartners, they get it's their greatest thrill to build a tower.
As tall as you can.
As tall as you can.
Yep.
And this last class was responsible enough, because she's an awesome teacher, that they could build a tower really as tall as they could reach. And they thought it was the greatest when I came in, because I could reach higher than they could, and we could build a tower. So they would each build their own little section, and I would add it in, and build a section, and I would add it in. And we got it as tall as Courtney, who's 6'4". And so they thought it was the greatest thing. And it's that light and that spark that we see in the studio. We do see it.
Yeah.
It's like your light is dim when you walk in. That uncertainty shrouds.
It's just like when you step in the gym for the first time, right? You're like, awkward. I have no clue what I'm doing. Yep. I can't even lift any weights. Like, why am I here?
But showing up.
Yeah, showing up
is a big step.
80%.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
Once you can show up and get started, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Although, you get those people that get a little frustrated.
They do, but there's always a way to channel it. There's, over the years, some people are bound to get frustrated and they don't quit. It's just not their jam. Yeah. So it's not their thing. So,
which, although I will say, not to toot MoltenWorks horn, but I think we have probably one of the best environments and materials to start with as a newbie creator.
Well, there's such a variety that there's really nothing that you can't do. Yeah. Even if you can't cut the glass, there's already lots of little broken pieces, or the beads are great to work with.
Yeah, the examples we give,
right.
the templates we have, I would say it's a very safe place to start being creative. It doesn't mean it ends there. And we have a lot of our other members that do other things too that are super creative, and we love hearing about.
Yeah. Well, and so there's a lot of things that you can create and do, and there's been, you can relate it. It's not arts and crafts. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
All you men out there.
It is not arts and crafts. That is not what we're doing here. You get to break glass, first of all, and then you build something. Whether or not you create it or it comes from somewhere inside of you, you get to build something. And so, no arts and crafts. It is building. It is breaking glass. Yeah. It is a ton of fun, and it's just something that everybody can do. And that's one of the feedback that we get a lot too, is that you have so many materials. There's so much that you can do. Yeah. And so we hear that a lot. But it's building things. It's breaking glass. And you can do it. And you bleed.
Yes, Annette. Yes.
We have Band-Aids. We use Band-Aids a lot. And then the other thing that comes with it that I think partners with the I'm not creative is that, I'm just going to copy this. There is there's no copying. Again, what you put on the glass and because of the magic or the science, however you think about it, of the kiln, they all come out differently.
Yeah, even if you created the same design, it's not going to be...
It's called inspired by.
Yeah.
You don't copy things. You're inspired by something.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, is that, I mean, you're inspired by what you see, and that is a spark that helps you create something. And that's I think the biggest thing is that we're inspired by something, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So we've been seeing a lot of repeat creators.
Yeah.
And that is its own kind of joy. But I really can't wait to see all the newbies come back. Yeah. And start classes again, and be able to
get you guys in the studio one more time.
Be able to see the new creators, and really light that fire under everybody. Yeah. That's kind of makes me sad right now, but it makes me happy too, because we get to be open soon.
Soon, very soon.
We get to be open soon.
Yeah.
I mean, sooner than it was last week during episode 2. So the days are getting closer.
Yeah.
We're
getting set up. I mean, we need the next 3 weeks to get set up, everything. So
yeah, it kind of works out perfect that moving and the timing of our opening, like, we'd need a grand reopening anyway, so we might as well
be in a new space.
And have our create at home. So that's I know it's something to look forward to. It's exciting.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to leave you guys. I have just 2 quotes. The first one being, the creative adult is the child who survived. And the other one, the desire to create is one of the deepest yearnings of the human soul. It is in there, and we want to bring it out. So without further ado, you guys, enjoy the rest of your Memorial weekend. Happy Monday. And we can't wait to see you in the studio again.
Have a good day, guys.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.